everybody that's joining us here this morning in the room, and everybody that's out there joining us this morning via the live stream. We're so glad that you were able to join us here this morning. Before we get started, I just have to make one kind of an attaboy out there today. And that is for the Shafter City Council for approving putting In God We Trust on all of the patrol cars out there. I think it's awesome that the city of Shafter is stepping up and is going to make a stand and join with some of the other departments in the area that are putting In God We Trust on their patrol cars. I think it's awesome. I can't wait to see the emblem on the car. I just really hope I don't see it as the flashing lights are behind me. You know, I kind of want to just see it, you know, maybe as you guys are driving by. So again, thank you, Shafter City Council, for stepping up and for putting that on the patrol cars. I think it's awesome. Hey, I'm so glad you guys are here today. Welcome to Community Circle Church. You know, we're coming soon to Shafter, August 4th, 11 a.m. at the Walker Center in Shafter. We can't wait to see you guys. Just a couple of weeks away. I mean, what are we, 4 or 5 weeks away now? Can't wait to see you guys there. We're glad you were able to join us this morning. All right, let's get into this morning. In case you guys didn't know too much about me, I love baseball. Now, I'm really not here to endorse any team. All right, I don't really want to make you guys discriminate against the other teams. I'm not going to tell you that I have a favorite team. But I love baseball, and it's when my kids got old enough, when my boys, when they were old enough, I couldn't wait to get out there and to teach them to play baseball and to take them out to the field, hit them ground balls, hit them some fly balls, pitch to them so they could hit. I love the game, and I transferred some of that into them. And we would go out there for hours and hours and hours. And I must have hit 10,000 ground balls and fly balls and thrown over 1 million pitches so that they could learn how to hit. Now, here's something with my oldest two boys, and they both did the same thing. And I brought in a couple things so I could show you today. I got this tee with a ball on it, with a baseball. All right? And when they started learning how to hit, they developed some really bad habits, all right? Because they were just learning. So they would come in and they would want to hit the ball off of the tee, and when they would want to drop this foot out and hit the ball here, head flying out, not watching anything, and they would hit the ball. I mean, and they would crush it. And they had a little bit of success with it. And they thought, hey, this is working out just fine. Now, any coach out there, and if you're not a baseball fan, I'm sorry. We love you, and we'll be glad to see you at C3. But just indulge me just for a minute, because any of those coaches that are out there, we all know that the proper technique to hit that ball is you step into it, and when the ball meets the bat, you're looking at it so you can see that. But my boys, they wanted to step out and hit that ball and drive it out this way, and it worked. And I kept trying to teach them, hey, don't step out, step into it, make contact, watch the ball. And they would tell me, hey, Dad, what I'm doing is working. I'm hitting the ball just fine. Why are you busting me on this one? Because I'm hitting the ball just fine. But the thing is, to get to the next level when the ball's not on a tee and you've got a pitcher throwing it, and he's going to throw it out there a little bit, guess what? You're out here, you're going to miss that ball. You see, what they had to learn when it came to hitting is right is greater than easy. See, in order to learn how to hit that ball right, to be successful at the next level, they had to change what was natural to them. They had to change a little bit about how they did things. They had to come in here and step into the ball. Now, they eventually did, but they thought I was being mean to them. They thought, hey, Dad, you're just being a jerk because, you're just not wanting me to hit the way I want to hit. Right is greater than easy. You got to step into the ball, keep your eye focused on the ball, and hit the ball. And guess what? They became really good hitters once they figured that out. Now, the other thing that they used to do when it came to baseball, let me get rid of this tee before I trip over it, is when it came to throwing a ball. Now, we all know that have been around the game and that love the game, and as I try to teach my boys, to throw a baseball, you step toward where you want to throw it, get your arm out, you come up here, release it, and then you follow through. And that's where you get your power, that's where you get your velocity with the ball. But what did my kids want to do when they started throwing the ball? They wanted to bring their elbow down here around their waist and throw it down here. It's like, hey, this works. I can get it to about 10 or 15 feet where that other kid is standing. I can just keep throwing it down here. The problem is, you've got no power down here. There's nothing. You're not going to throw a guy out from right field at third base by throwing the ball down here. You've got to get that elbow up, and you've got to get that follow through in order to get some velocity on the ball. Right is greater than easy. This was easy. This came natural. Hey, just hand them the ball and watch them throw, and this is what they did right here. But just because it's easy doesn't mean it's right. In order to be successful at the next level and the level after that, you've got to get that arm up. You've got to start working on that follow through. You've got to be able to really put some zip on that ball, or you're never going to be successful. Right is greater than easy. So we've talked about that this morning, and you say, well, what does this little road down baseball history, what does the ghost of baseball past have to do with anything that we're doing today? Well, I'm really glad you asked that, because I want to share a story with you this morning. You guessed it, it's in the Bible. I mean, that's kind of what we do here at Community Circle Church. We do talk about the Bible. And so we want to share a Bible story, and I could probably spend 2 hours if we were to really go through every bit of this story. And I don't want to do that, and I know you don't want me to do that. So we're just going to make a really long story kind of short, okay? And so what I want to talk about today is the Ark of the Covenant. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the Ark of the Covenant, but this is not Noah's Ark. This is not where the animals came 2 by 2, okay, where there was a flood. This is a completely different ark. And I want to show you a picture of what we think the Ark of the Covenant looks like. Okay, it was a box, all right, and it's a box that's got the gold all around it, and this lid on here with these are called seraphims, the birds that are on there. This lid is called, I don't know if you've ever heard the term, the mercy seat. Okay, this is the mercy seat, and we will get into what that is at a different time and date. But this was the Ark of the Covenant. This was sacred. This was where God rested, and this was built by Moses upon the instructions of God. He says, I want you to build me an ark. And this is what he gave him, the exact dimensions that this should be. And Moses built this ark. This was a resting place for God. Now with this ark, there came instructions. Okay, there was instructions not to touch the ark. So we see those instructions in Numbers chapter number 4. Starting verse 15, it says, after Aaron, who was the priest, and his sons had finished covering the holy furnishings and all the holy articles, and when the camp is ready to move, only then are the Kohathites to come and to do the carrying. But they must not touch the holy things. The ark was holy. The ark was sacred. They're not to touch it. Don't touch it. How many of you guys have ever been told, don't touch something, and you walked right over and touched it? Am I the only one? Okay. I thought I had some friends out there. Don't touch the ark. It's sacred. It's God's. And then what about when the Israelites have to move and they're going to transport the ark? Well, God thought of everything. He gave them specific instructions on how to move the ark. And we see those in Exodus chapter 25, verses 12 through 14. Cast 4 gold rings for it and fasten them to its 4 feet with 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other. Then make poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Insert the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark and carry it. Now, how many of you guys remember or have ever heard of the story of David and Goliath? Okay, most of us have heard the story. If you've ever watched a sporting event, if there's ever a team that's supposed to just dominate the other one, we always hear, this is a story of David versus Goliath. Okay, you've got one powerhouse versus one that's supposed to get slaughtered. Does anybody know where Goliath was from? He was from the country of Philistine. He was a Philistine. So the Philistines were the enemy of Israel. David killed the Philistine giant, which was Goliath, and then the two countries always fought. All right, so the Philistines had at one point captured the ark. Remember, this is not Noah's ark; it's the Ark of the Covenant. All right, this is the sacred thing of God. The Philistines captured it, and so for several years it was out of Israel. Israel gets the ark back, and they decided to transport it. We got to get it back to Jerusalem. And so David says, hey, let's get it back. This is where it needs to be. And so let's see what happened when they tried to transport it. We picked this up in 1 Chronicles 13. And it says, they moved the ark of God from Abinadab's house on a new cart with Uzzah and Ahio guiding it. Now it says they were on a new cart. Does anybody remember when you transport it that it had to be on a cart? Okay, just a little kind of foreshadowing there. Something's going to go wrong. David and all the Israelites were celebrating with all their might before God, with songs, with harps, lyres, timbrels, cymbals, and trumpets. They were partying down, and they were going musical. When they came to the threshing floor of Kidon, Uzzah reached out his hand to steady the ark because the oxen stumbled. What did we hear about the ark a minute ago? Don't touch it. Remember, Uzzah goes up to steady the ark, and so let's see what happens next. The Lord's anger burned against Uzzah, and he struck him down because he had put his hand on the ark. So he died there before God. He died. He was struck down, and he died after he touched the holy thing, after he touched the ark. And you see, David, who was the king of Israel at the time, he was furious with God because Uzzah was one of his buddies. Why would you do this? Why would you kill him? And so it's easy for us to think, hey, Uzzah wasn't doing something really bad. He wasn't out raping and pillaging and killing people. All he did was put his hands up to try to steady the ark because he was afraid it was going to fall. What was so bad about that? His intentions were good, right? Weren't they good? I mean, he didn't want the ark to fall. He didn't want the holy thing to crash on the ground. What was the big deal? But God was clear. God was very, very clear. Remember, let's look at these verses that we went over again. Numbers chapter 4. Aaron and his sons have finished covering the holy things and the holy articles. And when the camp is ready to move, only then are the Kohathites to come and carry it. To carry it. But they must not touch the holy things, or they will die. It was put there in black and white. If they touch it, they'll die. Let's look at our next verse again. Exodus 25. Cast 4 gold rings for it and fasten them to its 4 feet, and with 2 rings on one side and 2 on the other. Then make poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Do you guys see a cart here? These poles were put here for a reason. And it was for the transportation of the ark. It was for people to get in between those poles, to put them up on their shoulders, and you walk the ark to where it's supposed to go. Nothing in here about putting it on a cart. Now, maybe they thought, hey, it's a new cart, so it's okay. Remember what we said about the baseball a minute ago? Right is greater than easy. It was easy to have that thing on the cart and have a donkey or an oxen or a horse or whatever pull it. But what was the right thing to do? The right thing to do is to do what God said to do and to carry it by these poles, not to put it on a cart. Right is greater than easy. Now, I've never had to carry an ark. I've never had to worry about that. But I've got other areas in my life that I worry about. And to be successful in those, in carrying the ark, and to be successful in those other areas of my life, I need to do things the way God has instructed me to do. But maybe David and his team, maybe he thought, hey, it's just going to be just easier to put this on a cart. What's the big deal? So we take a little bit of a shortcut with the holy thing. What's the worst that can happen? Well, we saw what happened. Okay? My kids thought that their way for hitting and for throwing was going to be okay. But to be successful at the next level, they were going to have to make some adjustments. They were going to have to make some changes. Because right is greater than easy. You see, they were all wrong. David was wrong. My kids were wrong. You can't always take the easy way out. Because right is greater than easy. So, where am I going with this? What does this have to do? So what? They had an ark. Your kids couldn't throw a ball when they were 4. So what? Right? Who cares? What does that have to do with me? I'm so glad you asked. But before I go there, I want to say something to you. You know, you may not be a Christ follower. And that's okay. That's why we're here. And you may not be real sure you agree with anything. Maybe, maybe we're going to hurt the kids' spirit if we tell them they can't throw like this. Or, maybe it's okay to let them hit however they want, and we'll just cheer them on and give them their participation trophy at the end of the game. And we'll cheer. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you may not agree with everything. And that's okay, because we love you anyway. Okay, so just know that regardless of your status, regardless of where you are in your faith walk, regardless of where you are, if you're a follower of Christ or not, God wants you to be successful because He loves you. And He wants you to succeed in life. And that's why we have these instructions and this training in this book that we call the Bible. Because God has given us the instructions to help us to be successful. I want to be successful in life, and I'm sure that everybody else does too. I can't think of anybody who gets up in the morning and says, wow, how big of a loser can I be today? I don't think people get up and think that to themselves. I think they want to be successful, but I think sometimes we want to just take the easy way to do it. And sometimes we forget that right is greater than easy, okay? So look what happened to Uzzah following the instructions that God had given. He lost his life because he tried to take the easy way. Now, before you jump up and email me or comment or whatever, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that if you don't do everything exactly like God tells you to, He's going to zap you and kill you and that you're going to die. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, it happened in Uzzah's case because he touched the holy thing. All right, but what am I saying? I believe it's safe to say that we've all fallen short. We've all fallen short of where we're supposed to go. We've all fallen short, and whether some of us, we've taken that easy route. We've all done it, and we're still here. But God still wants us to be successful. Okay? So you may be of the mindset, I can spend my money however I want. You're right. I can drink whatever I want. I can shoot up whatever I want. I can swallow whatever I want. I can smoke whatever I want. I can go anywhere I want. You're right. Wow. You're like 100% on this test. You're right. You can do whatever you want. But not everything that you're going to do is going to set you up for success. You see, I know people that have had affairs. And it's like, wow, this is exciting. This is fun. And it is for a minute. But then you have to stop and look at the damage and the destruction that is done after the affair takes place. There's a spouse that's hurt. There's kids that are devastated. There's extended family that are hurt by this. You see, sin is fun for a minute. And you're saying, well, how could you say that? How can you say sin is fun? It is. And if you're not having fun while you're sin, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're doing it wrong. Because it is fun for a minute. but there's always a bill to pay for that sin. And sin is extremely expensive, because sin will always cost you more than you want to spend. It'll always take you further than you want to go, and it will always cost you more time than you wanted to give to it. That's where sin takes you. Yeah, it's fun in the minute. It really is. But man, you're going to pay. Everybody pays. Everybody. Sometimes we just got to keep remembering. Sin sometimes, it's easy to fall into. It's so easy. But remember, right is greater than easy. And we can't ever forget this. Failure isn't final. All right? Thank God failure isn't final. Hey, so we've messed up a time or two. So, we have fallen short and we've sinned. And, it may damage some relationships here on earth. But you know what? Failure is not final with God, because he gives us chance after chance after chance. All right? Because we all fall short. And spoiler alert, there's none of us that are perfect. I tried to walk on water the other day. I sunk like a rock. It doesn't work because we're all flawed. We're all imperfect. Myself included. And if you don't believe me, there's some high school baseball umpires that would probably line up and tell you, no, I know that guy's not perfect, because he yelled and screamed at me over a missed strike. So yeah, we all fall short. But we serve a God that gives us chance after chance. He gives us second chances and third chances and fourth and fifth and sixth and so on. Because failure is not final. So we need to remember that. And if you sit there and you're thinking, you know what? I've taken the easy route. And I want to start over today, and I want to take the right route, because I want to live like right is greater than easy. All right, so let's do that today. It's so easy. See, this is the simple part. All you have to do is you say, "Dear Jesus, I know I've sinned and fallen short. Please forgive me. Please wash my sin away and help me to walk with you. In Jesus' name, amen." Congratulations. If you said that, you started over. You're on the right track. Are you going to have some bumps? Yes. Are you going to slip and fall? Absolutely. But don't worry, because God is right there. He loves you more than you're ever going to realize that he loves you. So, what do we do from here? I'm so glad you asked, because guess what? We want to partner with you. If you're one of those ones that a minute ago that you said, well, I can drink whatever I want and smoke and whatever. Hey, you know what? We're glad you're here, and you'll always be welcome at C3. You don't have to agree with everything that we say, think, or do. You're still welcome. You can still come in. We love you. God loves you, and we're going to walk through this thing together. Together, we're better. All right? We are so glad that you got up this morning and watched this. And if you're watching this a little later, I'm going to ask you to do something. Please like and share this. Give us a comment. It really does help us with Facebook and some of the other social media platforms, because that shows them that there's some interest in this, and it just helps us spread the word. So share this with your friends and your family. I'm just so looking forward to August 4th at 11 a.m. over at the Walker Center in Shafter. I can't wait to see you guys in person. 11 a.m. Guess what? We get to sleep in on Sundays. We get to have church. We get to come together, all right, and meet August 4th, 11 a.m. Can't wait to see you guys there. Hey, don't forget, this Wednesday is the next installment of Circle in the Book with Marvin Cook. He continues his talk on theology. So, hey, I've seen there's been a lot of interest in it. We've got several views on it. Hey, just comment, share it, enjoy it. But most importantly, just get in there, watch it, get in it, because Marvin gives you some great stuff. Please be back here next Sunday at 8:30, where we're going to continue on our voyage to live better together, because we know that right is greater than easy. All right, let me say a blessing over you before we get out of here today. God, I praise you for everybody that's here. Thank you. Touch their lives. God, I pray that you walk with them and give them peace in their lives, wisdom, and light the path for them. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace.